What's going on, guys? We're live for our roundtable. How's everyone doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Outstanding in this field.
Farmer.
So we've got Ash, Tommy, and Duncan with us today, and of course myself, Dan. We've got a few people in the chat already I can see. So we've got Caleb. How you doing? And Charles. Charles, you always show up to the live streams. Thank you very much. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a slow week, if you ask me personally.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen too much in the way of news, but what news we have seen, I'm sure we'll go into today. So, but before we do that, I just kind of want to know what you guys have been playing. So, Duncan, let's start with you.
Okay, this week I have on Stadia. We'll start with Stadia. I've played some Crew 2, and I've got world records in the game, so try and beat them while they're there. I have played some Division 2, and I have been really bad and started playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Stadia, even though I completed Assassin's Creed Odyssey, all the DLC on the PlayStation this week as well. So I'm on an Assassin's Creed sort of breakdown now.
I've been playing the Division 2. I've played a little bit of the Crew with Ash the other night, and Doom. That's been it this week. It's been not a lot of time spent in Stadia this week.
Yeah, for me it's been similar, just the Crew 2 and Division 2. A little dabble with Assassins again, but that's it really.
So for saying that, like, we're all in kind of like lockdown and isolation and all that, you'd have thought we'd been gaming a lot more than what we actually have, but I've only really played a tiny bit of Destiny 2 the other day. I played the Division 2 with some of you guys as well. Tried to play the Crew just before this live stream, but my setup had apparently reset itself, so all of the stream quality was really, really rubbish. So maybe we'll try that again later on tonight if we've got time. So let's just shout out some extra people in the chat. So Stadia Dosage, don't watch Duncan. Tommy, I got your back. Thanks for turning up. Rocks, Stadia Rocks, how's it going? Again, thank you. I know I've said this before, but thank you, Adam, for having me on your channel today. I was one of the Stadia stars. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Adam's going to be doing a section in his videos whereby he takes various people from the Stadia community and kind of gives them a shout out. Yeah, so look out for that one. Smadfield, what is Duncan eating?
Don't.
I am eating an lemon meringue and custard. So
Go away.
It's been teasing Ash with that because I'm guessing Ash is quite hungry. So
I had porridge.
Oh, I had a dirty kebab before we came on.
Right, that's it. I'll quit.
It was delivered. I didn't go out anywhere.
we've had gammon. So, by the way, Smadfield's avatar, that dates back to when we were at college, just so you know.
That was you in college?
No, I actually went to college with him, you see, and he made that avatar when he was in college. It's supposed to be Iron Jaw from what's it called?
James
007,
Bond.
James Bond. But he gave him ginger hair and glasses, so. 5 danger points to dosage.
No good. No good unless you can fry it.
You guys had deep fried Mars bars before?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
The best thing is deep fried ice cream.
Yeah, that's weird. I didn't believe it
Doesn't that
when
just
I
melt?
seen it on a menu.
Doesn't it just melt?
No, it doesn't. It's really weird.
Okay.
It's like a batter around it, and they just deep fry it for like a second to get it done, and then you eat it, and it's absolutely lovely.
Yeah, it's really good.
I'll try
Time to
that
buy
on
a
your
fryer.
recommendation. Anyway, we've kind of gone on a tangent here. So basically, I just wanted to kind of get your opinions on The Crew 2 for those that have played it. So, like I said, I tried to play it and it was a spectacular fail. So, Ash, I know you've been playing it.
Yep.
What are your views on the game?
Well, my previous experience before was playing it on the beta, which it was good then. It's a lot better now. But when I was waiting for you to join me, I did have the experience of crashing into a destructible tree that then got wedged into my car. So I was driving around as a tree. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
Tommy or Duncan, have either of you played it yet?
I have had a wee go on it, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like Forza Horizon. You just fly about there, you can just chill out. But it's actually a slightly more difficult. There's no rubber banding in it, so yeah, and you can do all your different defense. I hate the flying. I'm not sure if anybody else. I hate the flying. The boats in the car I can deal with, but not the plane.
So I agree with you on that, Duncan. Now, the only flying I've done is literally the intro to the game so far. And I said to Ash, because I was chatting to him when I was playing it, I was like, yeah, I don't like the flying. The boats are fine. The cars, they handle well. Although, I played it for maybe an hour, and I don't think it's for me. The fact that I went to the street race and at first I'd seen the lineup of the cars that you can get, and it made it look like you could just pick any of those cars. It's like, who's not going to just walk straight to the Veyron? It's a racing game. You're going to pick the fastest car. Then I realised you can't do that, and I was stuck with an MX-5. And the first race I went to, 4 attempts, I couldn't even get in the top 3. I was just like, wow, this game's difficult. But not because of the racing. Like, the AI uses shortcuts. You try and use shortcuts because there's a ramp randomly placed in your way. That has nothing to do with the direction that you're supposed to go in, and it sends you completely the wrong way, and then all of a sudden you go from 1st to 5th, and like you say, there's no rubber banding, so there's no way you're catching up again. I don't know, I feel like the game just... The open world side of things, I will enjoy. The actual racing of it, I'm not so sure.
I'm pretty sure that's what everybody who plays The Crew 2 just does anyway. From what I've gathered and what I've heard in the past, people just want to drive around and just mess around, really.
Is it this game that you have the ability to, like, online to start a random street race just by flashing headlights at them? Or was that a Need for Speed game?
I'm not sure.
Well, the fact that nobody knows you can do that in this, I'm going to take a guess that it was that, because that's the kind of feature that I would expect to see in this, where you can just be driving around the world, you see somebody, you can somehow initialize a race, it just picks a random point of finish, although hopefully not literally across the continental US, because that would be pretty gnarly. 3-hour race.
Well, it's not to scale, is it? So
I'd hope not. In weeks.
Yeah, it'll take a while. Just to quickly go to what Stadia Rocks just said. I don't think it was me that turned up in your game, but it does sound like the kind of thing I would do.
Well, his gamer tag's Lord Moore, so if it was him, then you'll know.
Yes.
I just want to add in something here. I was also playing Darksiders Genesis this week, and I was playing it yesterday, and we got achievements yesterday because someone forgot we were playing it yesterday. Who shall we name this behind me?
Yeah, so I to be fair, I've bought the game. It was only £12, so you know, I mean, it wasn't too expensive. It just looks one of those games that you can kind of chill out and just relax, like, you know, we just drive around for a bit, maybe fly around. I did manage to fly into a building into the water in the brief seconds that I did play it, so maybe I need to practice that a bit more. But yeah, like I said, we'll try and get some live stream of that up later on so people can have a look and maybe decide for themselves if that's something they want to buy. So moving on to the next game, Lost Words Beyond the Page. Any of you purchased this or?
Yes, I haven't played it yet, but I have purchased it because this is a game that I think I will like quite a lot, and that's why I haven't played it yet. I want to get over Doom and the Division and sit down and probably play this. Maybe not one sitting because I haven't seen Meg streamed it live from start to finish in about 6 hours. Maybe over a weekend period or something like that, and just sort of smash through it. I think it's one of them games where if you put it down and come back to it like days apart, you're gonna miss not miss things, but you're not going to connect the whole story. I think it needs to be played quite compactly.
I have not. I'm thinking that's going to be a pro game in a couple of months, so I'm saving the cash there.
Yeah, I've not had the chance either. For me, it's just not the type of game I'd usually go for. But if it does become a pro game, then I will claim it and just give it a try to see what it's like. But
yeah, I think I'm on the same page as you there, Ash. It doesn't seem like something I'd invest money in. If it's a pro game, I'll definitely try it out. But I mean, it does look amazing, as do most of the Stadia games that come out. So props on, the developers for making that game. I believe someone was streaming it, and one of the developers jumped in. Was it Raf Gaming?
Raf and Raf had Luke, I think he's the community manager. I could get that wrong, but yeah, he jumped in on Raf's stream, and Meg had one of the voice actors for the main character in her stream, and somebody else from the development team in there as well.
So it's another case of like where we had with Spitlins, where the developers actually want to see people kind of playing their games, and they jump in and join in with them. So that's amazing to see that.
Yeah.
And I guess with it being such a small community as well at the moment, there's every chance that if you were to do like a live stream, that you could have one of the developers jump into ours, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the nice thing about the indie devs, especially on the Stadia platform, where they're choosing to release on this platform, they seem to be very focused on engaging with the creators as well, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's brilliant to see it. I was going to say something about it, but I completely forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, it's gone.
Lost words.
Lost. I need that sound clip. That but yeah, it looks like a good game, but unless it comes out on pro deals, I'm probably going to give it a miss. I remember what I was going to say. Does anybody else kind of feel like they're kind of being inundated with games at the moment, and you've not got enough time, even though we're in quarantine, to play them all? Like, I mean, I've yet to even start playing Doom yet. I've played some of the Division 2. I've only played a few hours of it, but nowhere near enough to kind of get into the meat of the game. Obviously, I've bought the Crew 2 today, so need to start playing that. But there's just too much I want to play and not enough time to play it, it seems. Anybody else feel that?
Since we went into lockdown, my workload has increased. I can't even say the word.
Exponentially.
Exactly. I am absolutely rushed off my feet, and I'm coming in, and I'm absolutely sorry. I'm a quote-unquote key worker at this moment in time, so I'm still going into work at the moment. So,
yeah, same, yeah.
And it's just absolutely mental at this moment in time. So I'm coming in, I'm playing for like an hour, and then I'm completely falling asleep. I'm just rushed off my feet at the moment, which I think is really mad.
I'm still going into work at the moment as well, but obviously we've not been able to go out at the weekend. You'd have thought maybe I'd have got some time to play, but I don't know. There's just too much to play at the moment, and I feel like I'm not investing the time I need to be investing into the games. Like before, I'm the type of person, if I'm playing a game, I tend to just play one game and that's it, until I'm bored of it or until I've finished it. But at the moment, I'm flitting between like 3 or 4 games, and I'm not enjoying the experience because I'm kind of missing storylines and stuff like that.
Yeah, Division will do that as well. That's one of them games where you can play that for months.
Yeah. and it's all fun. So it is. I think it's a bit like Dan was saying. It's like dither mode. You don't know what game to play. There's so many good games there, and you're going, I don't know which one I want to play at this moment in time. It's like, and you play ones for a wee bit, then you go off and you get through us. Thanks, Adam. I am feeling better now for the time being. Touch wood. Let's hope so.
So in the crew, is there an arrow that shows your directions? So how do you know where you're going then? Like, is there like a sat nav system or?
It's like isn't it like a line sort of thing? It's like waypoints, and you just follow your.
Yeah, so there
Yeah,
is
pretty
like a, like in most racing games, you get like the racing line where it tells you where to brake and stuff like that. So it does give you one of those, but it also encourages you to take side streets and so on to get ahead. And they're positioned generally quite easy to see, but on the other hand, then you take a ramp and you end up on a motorway bridge that doesn't allow you to come off it on the other side, and then you're stuck and have to reverse or turn around and drive back off it, then turn around and drive the direction that you're supposed to be going. So I don't feel like that works at all. I think that's one of them features where I play the game like, I just don't want to play this now. I just want to drive around.
Ash, we just had another comment. Make your bed.
No. Go away, Mom.
So we've also had another game announced for Stadia this week, and that was Monster Jam Steel Titans. So I don't believe this is a new game, is it?
No,
know,
it's been out for a while, I believe.
If you don't see the cover art for this game, that title tells you absolutely nothing.
That one.
There you go.
So I'm kind of thinking Supercross, but with monster trucks.
Yeah.
Real trucks, real action, Monster Jam. Monster Jam Steel Titans delivers the complete Monster Jam experience for everyone to enjoy. All the trucks, stunt stadiums, racing, and massive air in one game. Play in various game modes, including stadium and outdoor racing, various stunt challenges, and destructive modes. So there you have it.
This seems like a very niche game.
Yeah, but let's just remember that we probably thought this about Supercross as well, and then look how fun that turned out to be. So,
But the thing about it is, it was fun for a while, but how many people have actually went back unless it's someone's organised it?
yeah, it's not a game that you play on your own, is it? It's more
I'm
a party.
I'm getting nervous vibes that we are not getting any big games where everybody's saying indie. We're still missing the FIFAs, we're still missing the Call of Duties, but of course that will all come down the line, especially with all what's going on at the moment.
Well, we did theorize that a lot of these 120 plus games that were going to be coming out were going to be indie games because, unless you went back through the history of AAA games, you know what I mean? You ain't going to get 120 AAAs.
No chance. And I was actually I joined a discussion on Twitter probably about an hour or so ago about people talking about this exact point. Actually, like they're starting to worry now that the AAA titles aren't coming through. Even multi-platform games aren't necessarily coming to Stadia. But I think with the current climate, I think we can probably say that those 120 titles aren't going to be coming to Stadia this year. There are going to be a lot of indie devs that are not able to complete in the schedule that they were hoping for. If they get it done by the end of the year, I think they'll be probably quite lucky. I can still see a lot of AAA titles not making the dates that they were hoping for. I'm not talking about the Cyberpunks, because as we know, that game was essentially finished and they decided to take more time to make it better. So I think that
still not confirmed date for Stadia.
No, that's correct. But that game I don't think will be an issue for the platforms it's going to. We may get it later depending on what work is involved in that. But I do think that this year will probably be a much slower year than anybody had anticipated.
We've already seen that with the Xbox announcements as well. Matt Booty, who's the head of their studios, has basically came out. We're not giving any release dates. Things are probably going to slip. And so due to all this, so games will be pushed. And I think it might be a case who blinks first. I think as soon as one person announces it, I think we're going to get the shuffle of everybody else. Yeah.
So speaking of Xbox, I obviously want to bring up something I saw earlier today about with the demand for like cloud gaming, cloud computing at the moment. It's gone up by something like 700% over the past like few weeks or something. Yeah, because of obviously everyone being at home, and I can't imagine that. Well, I can imagine there's probably some parents that need to work from home that kind of shoo their kids off to the Xbox whilst mummy and daddy works. So they've actually put a stop on things like uploading your own display picture and certain download throttlings and stuff like that. So did any of you guys see that?
Yep, yeah. I seen that. It's not something to be celebrated and go, oh, look at Stadia isn't affected yet. That's because Stadia's own isn't a big fish at this moment in time. So actually celebrating that the Xbox is having to downplay some things, it's nothing to be celebrated. That's actually bringing attention to Stadia being so small and so insignificant in the bigger picture. Also, I think we're seeing with the cloud computing and the gaming the positives and negatives through this. I have had some hiccups. I'm not sure if anybody else has. I'm getting some stutters now, which there was no stutters before, due to everybody jumping on the exchange and everybody eating up the bandwidth. And I can see in the Stadia community that other people are having that as well, because the demand has went up. It is actually affecting my Stadia experience now.
Yeah, I second that. I'm finding quite a lot now that getting a lot of like blocky textures, and you can just tell where it's finding it difficult to deliver permanent quality setting, to the point where I was trying to record some gameplay of the Division 2, and I just gave up, because it's not, if you're putting any kind of video out about a game, you don't want to be putting it out on a platform where you're showing that it's not actually handling it properly. It's not going to do them any favors. It's not going to do the platform any favors. But there are various games that have been impacted that I've almost to the point of I don't want to play that game, because it kind of sours the experience, because you're so used to forgetting that you're streaming a game these days that it reminds you.
Yeah, I've not actually had any problems from my experience. Everything's been running quite smoothly. Other than sometimes if I play on Chrome, I get like blocky frames more than what I used to, but Chromecast Ultra certainly seems to be absolutely fine. So
I'm getting stutters. It's just when you're doing stuff, I'm just getting stutters, or the screen just goes completely, and then you're back into it. It's not game breaking, but it's just noticeable that because of all the stuff going on, it is having an effect.
It's interesting that you say it's not game breaking, because I guess that depends on the game. The one downside that we do have with a cloud platform is that because your screen shows like a black screen or whatever, generally speaking, that doesn't happen on the server. So you have the potential to be affected by things that you can't see. Doom, it happened to me on Doom. I was jumping, couldn't see. It froze for literally a second, but that was enough for me to carry on moving in the instance. And I'd already gone off the edge of the platform by the time it came back again. I was just like, interesting.
It hasn't happened to me any bad situations. It's happened in the Division when I'm just shooting people. So it's literally for a split second. I haven't been doing any jumps or anything. It hasn't been any game breaking sort of situations. But I can see how, depending on the game you would play.
Yeah, I've had it a little bit as well. It's like before I used to have it once every hour or so. And again, like Donka said, it will literally be for a split second. But since everyone's been at home and using all the data, even now I've got it on balanced performance, and I get it a lot more often. Still for this another split second or two, but a lot more. Which, like Tommy was saying, depending on whatever game it is you're playing, it will obviously give a dramatic downside. But
Be right back, guys.
So, that's terrible. Yeah, I want to bring up something. I think it was Stadia Rocks that he brought up about in this current climate that we're having, what with the massive strain that we're having on people's networks at the moment. Is there something to be said about playing games on Stadia, or at least playing them in a higher quality? Has anybody had any thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it makes sense that you knock it down to balanced, but I don't think it should be in our hands. I think they should be actually doing it remotely and go on. Netflix is doing it, Disney Plus is doing it,
YouTube is doing it.
YouTube is doing it, which, yeah, that's the big thing. They're connected. Why isn't Stadia doing it? I think they should be just saying we're going to do it and just bring it into line, because it's even happening in the US now, so they can just say we're doing it worldwide now. Bang, done, dusted. Everybody's down to balance.
yeah, they've done it with. Sorry.
I was going to say, do you not think there's people out there that might go, let's say if you own a game on the Xbox and Stadia, or you're thinking of getting it on one or the other, do you think that that's going to affect people's choices as to whether they play it on a non-streamable console?
Yeah. The other day when I was playing, I was trying to play Doom, and I was getting these issues. It was at the point where I was thinking, like, in these situations, if this was already happening consistently, would I have purchased Doom, or would I have got it on a different platform so that I could play that game through? That was for me probably one of the most anticipated games this year, and if I'd known up front that I knew that for potentially 6 months I could be having issues where I can't play that game properly, that would be something that I'd think about. And although my PC wouldn't play it, would I be able to get it on a console or something like that and have it locally where you know you're not going to run into those kind of issues? It would be at the forefront of my decision. I don't know whether or not I would succumb to it, because I don't know how long this is going to last. And once we're back through that, I don't want to be updating a game.
Yeah, you were going to say something before I interrupted you.
How dare you? No, yeah, with all the limiting all the streaming services, it's like even with Google Drive, if you've got any movies or TV shows on there, even that's now been limited down to sometimes the lowest setting, unless you change it yourself. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it depends on how long this goes on for. I think the news today, we're going to expect sort of this to be running to early June now, according to the. If lucky enough or unlucky enough, or whatever we want to start, I don't think there's any big game due to be coming out to Stadia in the next wee while, so it shouldn't really influence it. If this starts running on to September, October time, it could then start playing when you may get the FIFAs or the Cyberpunks, and if the Cyberpunk comes to end date.
I think that's potentially the only actual big AAA game for Stadia now for the rest of this year.
There's the Avengers as well.
We know about.
There's two games that I'm really looking forward to. Assassin's Creed. I think that's I think that's going to be out this year in some way, and that will be coming to Stadia because of Uplay Plus. I think it's Neil Dahlman and the Gods and Monsters as well. That's two
Monsters. Yeah, I did forget about that actually. That does look good. That does look like something I'd play at least. I I'd be hesitant of any IPs that we don't already know coming this year. If this progresses, like you say, to October, September time, I think most people will just even if the game is almost ready, are they going to have the facility to deal with any groundbreaking bugs that crop up and stuff like that? I can almost see the industry kind of going on hold.
Yeah, we've been getting them messages out there anyway. I think we're getting prepared for it. And PlayStation have done it as well. Xbox have done it. And I think it's just laying the groundwork to say these are going to go. My money's on Ghost of Tsushima being pushed again. I think Last of Us 2 is safe, but I think Ghost of Tsushima could be pushed to September time. Just so they've got games coming out.
Yeah, I wonder if the other streaming platforms such as like GeForce Now and xCloud, I wonder if they're experiencing any issues because of the.
Go on.
I was going to say I have seen in the community there, because there's people who use everything. The queues are forming in GeForce Now. Mm-hmm. I actually was playing GeForce Now today. Literally like half an hour before we came on live here, just to give it a whirl, and it was actually working fine for me. So I got in straight away, no issues. It was just in case this came up, I was just testing.
Yeah, and I again, to mirror that, I've seen plenty of people discussing issues with GeForce Now around getting into a game, not so much about issues once they're in it, but I feel like actually that their process of connection is probably slightly more streamlined than Stadia, because you're only connecting to a single instance, if you like, that doesn't get used by anything else. Once you're into it, that's your own personal cloud, if you like, whereas Stadia is obviously each blade is accessed by however many people for however many different processes. So I would assume that the potential for issue is much higher with Stadia than GeForce Now, but I think it's a tough one. What would you rather have to wait in a queue to play a game, or play the game and it be a potentially subpar experience?
Depends how big the queue is.
Yeah.
The thing is, anyway, the Stadia isn't pushing, so we're pushing for more people to come in. So it should be relatively stable, depending on your network conditions.
It's quite a good test, I think, for Stadia in terms of what's going to happen when base hits. They're obviously going to be looking at this now, going, if the limited number of users that we have are experiencing, it's not reliability issues. It's literally a case of everyone's bandwidth is being throttled regardless of what they're seeing. You can run a speed test every day of the week. That's not going to show any difference. The difference is literally about transmitting all of that data, and Stadia does use an awful lot of data. I mean, even 12 gig an hour is a lot of data.
Yeah, I can remember when you used to have like 1 gig, and that was your limit. Do you know what I mean? If you went over that, you got charged and what have you.
Yeah. And man, the old one here remembers 14.4 modems. Oh, right. Yep. And then the big upgrade was to 15, or if it was a 56.6 and stuff.
Yeah.
I just remember I used to watch Flash videos on my home computer, and it was like you had to wait 20 minutes just for the Flash video to load, and it wasn't even that good. It was just like stickmen beating each other up.
Some of those are the awesome videos back then, though. EBAM as well.
Definitely.
Well, it's like the other day, me and Dan were going through a bunch that we used to watch years ago, rathergood.com, or Rather Random. Always get that mixed up. But it's basically the guy who ended up doing the Crush'em adverts with the cats. This is where he started off, where he would do things where there's this lonely boy in a foreign town, and giant crabs come in and attack the town and start dancing. But yeah.
Okay.
Let's go with autistic men random thing.
Can I
Well,
ask
that'll
him,
take a
what's the big stockpiler about?
Toilet roll.
Toilet roll, yeah. No, we over in Northern Ireland, we are always about 6 years behind the times. We have now been allowed like a Costco thing. We can actually go to, we can actually bulk buy things now. So we have now discovered we can go out and bulk buy things. So I've been bulk buying like football specials and BPMs and all that, all the junk of the day. So we have been stockpiling all that sort of gear.
I'm sure that's something that only exists in Ireland as well. I've never seen this football special that you showcase every week.
Believe it or not, it's even very local. When I was growing up, you could only get this in one wee town in Northern Ireland. I was up in the north coast, Portrush. Have you heard of Portrush? That's where the Open was last year. You could only get that up around that area. So it was really, really local. And now you can get it in Northern Ireland now. So it's all fun.
So I thought of a new giveaway we could do for Stadia Source, and that is basically the prize will be Duncan will send you a roll of toilet paper from his huge stash.
Worth £25.
Yeah, this is mad. People are hiking the prices up around here, and it's
And it's going to be used.
Oh.
I'm not sure what's worse, that or the fact that this man has got to use it and then rewrap it on a roll again.
Hey, all you need is a drill. I've seen a YouTube video whereby you can go into public toilets with a drill and take the end off it, and wrap it round, and then as you drill it, it unrolls the toilet paper and rolls it onto the drill, so you can steal toilet rolls. Obviously, those dispensers that you can't get them out of.
What, the single sheets?
Yeah.
Tracing paper.
Yeah, I think my favourite was when I seen someone put a pack of Rizzler on a toilet roll handle.
Yeah.
Anyway, we severely digress. So, GDC, I kind of want to talk to you guys about GDC. I know a lot of other people, by the time we get to our Sunday chats, it's already been done to death by most people in the community, but I just kind of want to get your guys' opinions on anything and everything GDC related. So I know, Duncan, you probably had quite a lot to do in terms of watching them because you're quite switched on when it comes to these things. You were the one that finds all the links and stuff like that, weren't you? So,
well, yeah. To be fair, he has to write everybody's responses for them as well.
My feeling on it was there was some interesting stuff, but all in all, I think it was pretty
crap.
Yeah, even the exclusive game, it wasn't the from splash damage. It's to be honest, that hasn't really excited me that much. It's just going to be another. It's not like we've got one coming from a major studio. I wouldn't call Splash Damage a major studio. They're like a helper studio to get the other game to help others, sort of.
The biggest problem I think they had with introducing that was somewhere there was something on it that said that from the makers of Brink, that game was absolutely horrendous. They had this massive build up to it and everyone was really excited to play it, and then they actually got hold of the game and very, very, very few people played that game past a week. I remember seeing the numbers of that. Like, sales were huge and then the number of people playing it were catastrophic. It was a perfect case of what happens when you don't show gameplay for like over a year and you keep putting out these trailers of making this game look awesome. You can free run in the game and scale multiple parts of a map, plus have a third person shooter. And then it's kind of like it was like a MOBA before MOBAs were a thing. And yeah, that to me, I'm just like, really, you want me to get excited about a studio that built a game like that? We don't know anything about what the game is.
Didn't they have a hand in for Gears of War?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I help you through. Like, a studio for hire. They
Yeah.
go out and just help out with things. Again, I think because of what is going on at the moment, I think they just scaled it the whole way back to minimum viable product again, just to get something out the door to keep people interested a bit. I think I think base was going to be announced. I think we were going to get crowd play. We were going to get a whole lot of stuff, but because of the situation, they've just had to wipe it all out, and they just scaled it back because we didn't get the Get Pack talk, which we were meant to get, and other things. So I think it's a missed opportunity because of the situation.
I also feel like Get Packed is still going to be coming out fairly soon, and it's going to be anticlimactic because that build up that we were, like rightly say, we were supposed to get through this never happened. So that was a missed opportunity for them, and they're now going to come into a colder pond than what it should have been. People should have been like, yes, we're getting these features coming. Get Pack's going to showcase all of that. We're going to be able to play with people through YouTube, and now they're probably going to roll out the game with those features turned off, which I'd be hesitant as the studio to just be like, hang on a minute, or publisher rather, don't want to try. I would rather delay it and annoy people that it wasn't out than give people the game and be like, yeah, by the way, in a 6 months to a year's time, this game is going to be fantastic. But for now, you may as well have a single player experience.
Yeah, I think as well that I think they should be just knocking in the head for a while, just until there's base shows its face. Because that does have crowd play wrote all over it, and if they don't have crowd play, it's going to come into a saturated market because we've got that game on all the other platforms coming out, and isn't there another one as well, which is similar as well? There's
Moving out or something, isn't it?
There's moving out,
Moving
but I think there's another game similar to that as well. So it's just I think this is a delay could be the best thing for them.
I personally think if they launch the game without base and without any of these features, I think it will fail, because the people that have been excited to play that game will get their hands on the game and be like, yeah, it's all right, because you're literally getting a third of the game. That game has been designed from the ground up to have social interactions involved with it. It's not a single player game, and I don't know. I would hate to see them release that game in the next month and then watch it just sort of fade into the library of
games that you'll never play again.
Yeah, it's going to sit there and wither. And just looking at all the music going on or the tweets, it does look like it is due out really soon.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been communications going around as well, isn't there? And it's just, they're all the signs that a game is about to drop, and I've never been so put off from buying a game that I've wanted because it's coming out when they plan to. Don't think I've ever asked for a studio to delay a game before.
So, in terms of the GDC, then, do you think that the fact that they've had to kind of do it as a streamed event, do you think that's taken away some of what they were planning on releasing, like announcing, or
I think it's
just it?
I think it was just the coronavirus. I think base was coming. I think base was meant to launch last week or this week, and because of the coronavirus, it's been wiped out, and it's just took the wind from the sails. I don't think the digital event makes much of a difference. I think it's just the word defense.
I prefer it digitally, if I'm honest. It means that if I don't have time to watch it like sort of there and then, but I'm around, I can at least load them up and just hit pause, so that when I've got the time to go and sit down, it's just, and I know you can do that with a lot of these things anyway, but I quite like having it that way. It's sharper, everything is more compacted because they're only just displaying their one thing, and it's to a more direct group of people. When you're like E3, if you have the sort of the ability to get over there from us over here, like you said, Dan, when you got invited, but getting there is a big issue. It costs a lot of money. When you then get there, you've then got that sort of internal argument with yourself of you can't split yourself into two places at once, so you're missing things. And I kind of feel the same way about a lot of like sports and so on, that yes, it's nice to go and attend some of these things, but you always know that you still get the better the better picture is being at home and watching it. it's it's a weird thing, isn't it? But I preferred it digitally, and I think the biggest thing I took away from all of it was the Maker program. That really did stand out for me. That I've done that little video about it myself, but just the fact that they are very clearly putting the message out there that they are happy to work with indies, very happy to do it. They're providing the platform to do it. They're going to give them assistance, potential funding, and wearing that Goose shirt as well was a massive kick to those guys, because clearly something has gone on there that is not as cut and dry as was made out.
Yeah, I picked up on that as well. The t-shirt.
Just if we're going to just widen this out slightly here, the Epic news this week, they're going all in with Unity, but Epic are now making big moves and becoming like a proper publisher. And there does seem to be a bit of a spat, we will say, between with Google and Epic. So with them new games coming, and they're not Mickey Mouse sort of games, they are big name developers with really good sort of pedigree. Do you think we're going to get the Epic games on the Stadia now? I've got my doubts.
So Epic have already kind of done this, haven't they? The Steam, that was the whole intention of releasing the Epic Store in the first place. It was to disrupt Steam, the single biggest game marketplace in existence, and they did it. So I can't see now that they're going to want to play nice with everybody else when they are trying their absolute hardest to make it almost impossible to turn down a deal with them if you're an indie developer. And even the big AAAs are going to be looking at this like, well, we might have to share a lot of profit, but if it means that the overall cost of making the game is significant, well, potentially 50% less, then you weigh it. Unless it's going to be something like a COD, which you know without fail is going to sell. It's a difficult thing to sort of judge and go, do I want to pay a 50% on profits but no upfront costs, or do I want to foot all of those costs myself and potentially have a game that doesn't sell as well as I thought it would? It's a hard call.
So coming back to the Stadia Makers thing, and the whole Unity integration as well that they were talking about is actually really making me want to make a game.
I've just downloaded Unity Hub literally 3-4 days ago and got back into just running through some tutorials because I've not used it for probably a couple of years now. And yeah, the same sort of feelings. And then I heard that you found the source files to Sonic Smash Bros. And I was like, oh, this is going to happen.
I mean, it'll be a long time, if ever, that I managed to get that cleared by Sega. But yeah,
Stadia
I just reskin it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, Stadia Smash Bros.
Oh, interesting.
featured all the members of the community.
There is news, or there's a big rumor has just broke, and I seen it earlier, but more people seem to be going for it, that Microsoft have bought Konami.
Yeah. But this is weird because before this started, PlayStation were openly discussing getting the rights to Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill, and there was another title, I forgot what it is. Now that mixed with the Xbox news makes me think that it's even more true. Like, why right now would Sony be going after those two titles more than anything else? Metal Gear Solid and Silent Hill are big IPs. They also know that Konami can't do anything with it because it's suicide to make a game without having Kojima on board for those two games. They're his games. So why not sell them and allow Kojima to get back in through a different person? The relationship was soured purely between Kojima and Konami. So if Xbox are buying Konami and they sell off their two biggest franchises before that happens, they're laughing. They're going to make bank, leave the business, and allow whatever to happen moving forward.
And to relate this into Stadia here, Stadia are going after, we'll say, middling or studios to build up from the ground up, where the other people are just going, bang, we're going for this, we're going for that. Because even Epic are going for, what's the name of that studio again? Who made Control and Alan Wake? Remedy?
Remedy, yes. Remedy Studios.
They're going for Remedy, they're going for Playdead, and Stadia are going for they're going for the big names, but for the studios themselves, they're going for the lower tier, if you maybe mid tier sort, and they're going straight for the names. So I think Stadia really need to go out there and get someone before they're all gone.
I don't know about you guys. It'd be interesting to hear everyone's opinion on this, but what we thought Stadia was going to be when it was first announced versus what we know of it currently and the games lineup that we have that we know about. Do you feel that their strategy has changed throughout the point up to release and where we are now? I'm not sure that they currently want to take on PlayStation and Xbox. I feel like they are more happy at the moment to just build the platform up really slowly and make sure that all the games work in like a flawless state first. So maybe going for, they're still getting some big titles in, because I think they know that they have to have some AAA titles on board, because they're not going to get gamers, if you like, involved otherwise. But I just feel like that sort of double A's are more where they're going to be aiming for the next 12 months. And then once they've got a base of people that say, yeah, you know what, cloud gaming works, as in you get rid of all of the people that just say, oh, streaming games is never going to happen, the infrastructure isn't there, whatever. And then once they've got that level of just sort of like almost universal acceptance that it works as a platform, do they then really, really ramp up and then just go super aggressive like Epic did and just try and get every single AAA involved on Stadia?
I think, for me, I don't see a clear strategy. I think it's just a scattergun. I think, Cyberpunk's going to be the big game of this year, which was meant to be out a couple of weeks ago, but then they're just going indie, and they're missing out the big ones in FIFA. It just seems to be. I can't see the strategy of what games they're actually targeting. I think they should be going after both. They need the variety. They need the full length. But it's all, when we always talk about Stadia, it all comes back to the games. No one's happy with them.
Well, I think that they seem to have kind of gone after a few games just to, like Tommy said, get a few AAAs on there, tried and tested ones, just to keep people happy. But I think for the most part, it just seems to be a case of like whoever's come to them is in Stadia saying, I want my game to be on your platform, rather than them coming to the developers and saying, we want your game on our platform. Does that make sense?
It would be interesting to know, actually. That raises a really sort of valid point. I said for me, Doom was my game for this year. That's the one game I really wanted. It would be interesting to know how that came to Stadia, whether or not that was just See, I don't know if it is. I almost feel like they probably paid the development cost to have it, and they just said to Bethesda, look, we'll pay for what it costs for you to develop the game specifically to get it on Stadia. But other than that, I certainly don't think Bethesda went to them and said, we'd love to put this game on your platform. That doesn't seem to make any sense at all. I don't know of any developer that's going to approach Google and go, of a AAA status, can we put our game on your platform? That just doesn't seem right. And before Stadia was out, there was way more hate on the platform than there was people looking forward to it from Reddit and the likes of social media. Then when it launched, and it launched as abysmally as it did, it gave so much ammo to those people that if I was a developer and I was facing money to put my game on that platform, I'd have needed something to sweeten that deal.
I think they went after Ubisoft. There's some sort of deal in there for Ubisoft. They've lowered the commission or something just to get all them games on, or something with Uplay Plus. They've done something there for that. I agree with Cyberpunk and Doom. They have had to have put some money there to get it there. And the Bethesda with Wolfenstein, that's a Stadia Game Reviews is brought up. That's the only reason that's on the platform is because that absolutely stunk out the place, and they're trying to get some money back in that because no one has bought that.
It was I say terrible game isn't the right thing. Anybody that's liked Wolfenstein doesn't like that game. It doesn't play like a Wolfenstein game, and that's the problem. I haven't played it on Stadia. I played it on a PC before, but I've played Wolfenstein since floppy disk days, and that's co-op Wolfenstein doesn't work, I think, is essentially the problem with that game.
That was the first game I have ever returned in Stadia. I played it for half an hour to an hour, and it just absolutely was rubbish. Yeah. The cutscenes looked awful in it, and it just felt completely weird and just not like a Wolfenstein game. Yeah, it's basically it's got Wolfenstein on it, but it isn't. And the characters were really, really annoying. I could not stand them.
I'd rather drink that straight.
So, do you think this will put people off development studios? So,
yes.
I'm not 100% sure what you're trying to say there, Adam, but
I think that he was referring probably to the conversations we had earlier on about like the delays, and not just delays in terms of game development, but delays for the entire industry right now. As a developer right now, I would be way more interested in making sure that my IPs were going out to the traditional platforms that are in most homes. And it's a weird thing to say that, because if Base was launched, then Stadia would be in every home already. But to release Base now and then try and do this, you've still got to convince people to buy a game on a platform that they have no history with. That's a big ask regardless of what you do. I mean, other than the Switch, I can't think of a single console since Xbox and PlayStation have been in existence that has entered this market and done anything. There are several things that have come in and tried, and they just don't stand up. I mean, the Wii it sold well, but it wasn't a gamer's platform, right?
Yeah, I think the Wii was funny because it had the biggest number of people actually bought it, but the actual attach rate of games wasn't really low.
Yeah, and I think that is because of. I think had they tried to launch the likes of the Wii U more now, that would have probably been more successful. Not in sales, because it still sold really well, but I just think it would probably have been more successful now. There's a bigger demand for hyper-casual games now than there were when these two platforms launched. And I think that's why the Switch does as well as it does. It captures an audience that wasn't being captured by Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Duncan.
I was going to say, did you want to mention that comment, or if Xbox brought Naughty Dog, everybody put off playing their amazing games? If you've got that sort of attitude, this is me not calling you out, but it is. You wouldn't be playing any sort of games because the games industry is so incestuous. There we go. I always get that in somewhere. That there is there's Naughty Dog people already in Xbox. And the Initiative is their new studio. They've bought people, and Stadia have brought in the big wigs from Sony Santa Monica. Yeah. So it's the industry just changes all the time. So I think you would be surprised how many people from Naughty Dog would actually be working on Xbox at the moment. Yeah, the studio might go across, but the people are already here. It's just everybody just moves about, and I think it's very short-sighted, that sort of comment.
It is, but also I kind of semi-agree with it in the fact that, like, for example, I haven't owned a PlayStation since the PlayStation 2. I got given a PlayStation 3, but that was like a few years ago, so I've not actually really played it properly, if you know what I mean. It's just been almost like a glorified Blu-ray player in one of our spare rooms. But I have no interest in buying a PlayStation, and if a developer that I am interested in was to defect to PlayStation solely, I would probably count that as that's a game I'm not going to play then. Purely because I don't want to go out and buy, you know what I mean, and spend a few £100 on a console just to play one game. And I really, really had to try and convince myself just to buy a Nintendo Switch just for Super Smash Brothers. If it wasn't for the Pokemon games coming out on there, I probably wouldn't have done it.
That's exactly what I did. But for Breath of the Wild, I bought it. It came with Super Smash Bros. But I bought it because I wanted to play Breath of the Wild. And I no longer own the Switch. I've had it for maybe 6 months. I sold my Oculus Quest to fund it because I was using that as a cinema. I was like, this is far too expensive, and I already have a TV in my room to strap this to my head to watch Amazon Prime. So I got rid of that. Yes, it was Amazon Prime before you make any kind of other comments. And that's a bigger regret, I think, than buying the Switch to play one or two games. It's a good platform, but Nintendo games are not what I generally play. It's like at the moment, Animal Crossing is literally all I see on Twitter. I feel like I've unsubscribed from every single Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Stadia-related content, and all I have at the moment is Nintendo and Animal Crossing content in my Twitch stream.
It's the only thing keeping people sane, I think, during these times, from what I've gathered. But
I've never played it, but all I'm seeing, weirdly, and multiple people doing it, is showing pictures on Twitter of creating a casting couch type experience. It's weird.
Yeah, it's like one of my mates got it the other day, and with the whole quarantine, even though she's living with her boyfriend at the moment, they went on a date within the game. Just be like, oh, we went on a date today to the museum because we obviously can't do it in real life. But yeah.
I just remember the only way I know about them is through Super Smash. But have you heard the KK songs?
No.
It's like I'm going to sound really, really stupid, but like they have a certain way of making songs in the game, and it's like "That wake me like that" or something, and it just brings back memories. I used to have a friend, and every single time he heard one of those songs, he would be in tears, laughing so much. But I've never actually played the game. I don't understand the appeal. Maybe if I was to buy it, I might see the appeal. Maybe I'm just being closed-minded. But yeah, back to my earlier point of I'm not going to. Here we go. What's it?
No.
God, we need an after dark show of the round table.
This is literally what I'm seeing, though. And then there was another one I've seen of another. I don't know how I can say this politically correct. One person of one ethnicity with about 7 or 8 people of other ethnicities. I was just like, how is a game like this being turned into this?
You know the rule. If it can, it will.
Any opportunity.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's like... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
But it's like quickly just going back to Adam's last comment about essentially giving up on that type of game if it moved over to Xbox. It's like for me, I've always liked Spider-Man all the time. And it's like when the Amazing Spider-Man game, the last one, came out on PlayStation only, it literally took me about 6 months to try and convince myself not to get a PS4 just to play the game. But then I finally gave in. It's like, to me, that was worth it just to be able to play that game.
And that's why exclusive matter.
But then if you think about it, like one of our beefs, it sounds, is that we're not going to go out and buy, you know what I mean, a few £100 console to play a game that's exclusive to that console. However, with Stadia, you wouldn't have that problem once base launches because you could just buy that one game.
Yeah.
On Stadia.
I actually think that's one of the best selling points Stadia can put across right now, that it's a zero cost investment. You literally have to buy the game, which you would buy on whatever platform you want to play it anyway, and that's it. All right, yes, if you want to pay it in 4K, then give them a tenner for a 1 month subscription and gain access to some other games while you do it. I don't really see how you can lose that as a marketing campaign. You own that game forever, and you're always going to get the people that say, yeah, what if they fold? Yeah, okay, what if they fold? If Xbox Live folds, you are not going to connect to the store, so you're going to lose that anyway.
You'd have the single player, but that's it.
Yeah.
And that's assuming that your Xbox doesn't die. You can't buy another one.
Digital rights media it's a minefield, and people don't understand. All right, yeah, Steam turn around and say that if they ever fold, which clearly they never will, that they will give the licenses out to every game so that you can still play it somehow. I would be interested to see how many development studios honour that if Steam actually went under. Are they just going to randomly turn over a copy of that game to every single person that bought it? I don't think they will. Especially if the game's 10 years old.
If it's on another platform, they'd probably just give you, you know what I mean, some sort of license to be able to purchase it on Xbox, for example.
Yeah, possibly that way.
See, I was talking somewhat similar to this to someone a while ago, where my sister's fiance was playing the Jurassic World game where you make the park and you give birth to all the dinosaurs, personally. That then made me want to replay Spore again. But through Steam, you can't. Shut up. It was good. It was good. Not the best, and far off how it should have been. But I really wanted to replay it, which you can't do on your Mac through Steam. It's only for Windows through Steam. But you can access the CD key from Steam, put it onto the EA platform, and then get it on Windows and Mac. So literally, unless something like that happens, then...
So I want to bring up this one. Developer Bungie is using Google Stadia to run internal playtests while its staff works remotely during the COVID-19 crisis.
That's cool.
Yeah, I posted that on the Suku Stadia unofficial community update. So
I was trying to find that a minute ago, actually, because I wanted to maybe give you a chance to talk about it a bit more. But I can come back to that in a minute if you want.
It's basically and the setup's working absolutely amazing for them, and it's allowing them just they don't have to have all the heavy lift in the office. They can do it from home, and they're loving it. So the Stadia should be actually out pushing this in the Stadia or in the developer community. This is how you should be really doing it.
Yeah, because let's face it, they can give a dev kit to everybody regardless of where they are in the world, as long as they have an internet connection. No hardware cost.
Yeah. So it's good to see that something positive is coming out of this crisis. So props to them for that, really. Duncan, do you want to talk a little bit more about your updates on Reddit? How are they going?
They are going fine. They originally were set up as I can't swear, so taking the mickey out from Stadia with their bad updates, and everybody seemed to like them, so I've just continued them going forward. It's a way to promote everybody in the community. You find something, I will push it out there. And what we like doing, or what I like doing, is not promoting people like Stupid Stadia Arcadia or Stupid Ralph Gaming and people like that. But yeah, I try and promote everybody. I do it to some people's displeasure, as try and doing it as equally as possible. I try and not promote one side over the other or anything like that. But Stadia Source does have the most Stadia news, so that gets pushed a lot during it. But if other sites bring it up, I put it to that. I try and keep it balanced, or as balanced as possible.
Yeah, so I'm enjoying seeing them as well. And sometimes you even get things that I missed, and I think to myself, like, why hasn't he posted that on the website? But
to be fair,
I know you're a busy man, so
I'm hoping to get back into doing stuff this week. Touch wood, if things calm down. I actually wanted to say this on the podcast tonight. I want to say thank you to everybody on our site, where Tommy, yourself, Ash, Adam, and Chris as well for putting the articles up, because I haven't been able to do anything over the last couple of weeks because of the situation, and I am absolutely swamped in work.
It's actually given us a chance to do something.
yeah, I know Ash gets annoyed that he goes to post a news article, and lo and behold, he realizes just as he's about to post it that I already have, or someone else already has.
Because he likes to post while he's at work, and that steals my time. It's like literally, there's been times where I'm just about to press post, I'll go back to the site, and he posts like 3 minutes before. It's like, so close.
Good, thank you, Raf. And he's enjoying my Fandabby Dozy word there. Oh, wrong one. That one. What a word. How you doing, Fat Nuts 420? Epic username there. What was we even talking about? Yeah, the website. So I don't know if you noticed, this is just a small kind of update that I added to it the other day. If we go into games here.
It's going to be embarrassing because I can already say no.
I literally added it last night, and I added some tweaks today, so you probably haven't noticed it. But we're just going to the Crew 2, for example. So I've been working hard to obviously add all the achievements and stuff in as well from each game. But you can now go to add-ons and bundles. And at first you're going to be thinking, well, just doesn't Stadia.com do this? But I do have further plans for it as well.
Can I just interrupt you? Yes, it does do that for you, but only if you're a Pro subscriber. If you don't subscribe to Pro, you cannot see the Pro deals available. How stupid is that?
And not only that, but if you don't have Stadia, then you can't see the store anyway, can you?
Yeah, that's another good point. No, you can't.
So this allows you to see the store, and you can click on each one and it will give you a link to purchase it in the store as well. But also in the bundles here, it will tell you what comes in the bundles. And if you click it, obviously it will take you down to these are the individual add-ons. So for example, this one here, it will tell you what that comes bundled in as well, if that makes sense. So that tells you what's in the bundle. That tells you if that is in a bundle. Now, the reason, obviously, I wanted to add all this is because I kind of want to add some features to track things like the prices going forwards as well. I know they're only in pounds at the moment. I do tend to add kind of like the US dollars and stuff because I've had some people asking me if I'll add dollars to the prices as well. But you can kind of track the prices going forwards and kind of see like a bar chart or a graph or something, like a line chart, to say, you know what I mean, this is the cheapest it's ever been, for example, on Stadia. And obviously I can add the sales as they happen as well, and maybe add a thing on the homepage to kind of tell you what deals are on as well. Again, I know a lot of this is done by Stadia, but at least if we have the information on the website, we can kind of do more with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a brilliant addition to it, Dan. Well done for that, mate.
Thank you. Working hard as always, Dan. Yeah, always working hard. That's fine. Perfect. Plus, you can see what the best combination in which to buy things. Yeah. Project Storm, how's it going?
Had a great stream the other night with him, Giovanni, and Chase. That I did not realize how hard the Division 2 is if you play it with 4 players. That game is insane. It scales difficulty once you get 4 players in the party, but like dramatically with enemies of 4 levels higher. So I was level 18. I was like 6 to 7 levels below the enemies. We spent about an hour and a half trying one battle, and we just gave up in the end. It was just not happening.
Duncan, you're going to have to elaborate on that one for me. What do you mean?
That is just a joke. I'm going to reply to it now.
Oh, okay. So that kind of almost wraps us up, I think, unless anybody else has kind of got anything to add before we do. Radio silence there.
Follow Stadia Arcadia.
Ooh, controversial. The problem is that might not work. That might actually have the effect that Duncan wants.
Reverse psychology.
I have a steady stream of people subscribe even when I don't put content out, and I know it's purely because Duncan and his hashtag.
So I want to also give a shout out to our Patreons as well, Michael Nakarato and Adam Rock. We also have one that wishes to remain anonymous. Thank you to all of you for becoming our Patreon as well. You'll get a shout out most streams.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, everybody.
That's all from Smad. Obviously, he's been instrumental in the in the live stream.
I haven't even made a protection this week.
And I haven't shown a stupid YouTube clip, but I did show Animal. Yeah, never mind.
So what is your prediction then, Duncan?
Okay. We will go for a prediction of this.
That's not even funny.
It means it can't be wrong. No, I think we will get a couple of games this week. And can I just say something here? Going back to the GDC thing, my investigative reporting, what developer was put onto the Stadia list? The one who made Republica. So remember, I put an article on about a month ago saying Republica was coming. It definitely does look like it is coming now. So we're going to get that game this week. There we go. There's a bold prediction. That's my prediction.
Meringue update.
It's all gone.
All right, so yeah, that's going to be all from us then. I think we'll try and do a crew 2 stream. I've got all my equipment working now, so we'll try and get that one up. You guys
No.
Elaborate.
How dare you?
Working.
And try and get it up.
Yes. Nearly managed a whole podcast without doing
whole
it.
episode.
And at the end,
I don't know. I think it's about time we wrap it up.
Oh, you want to wrap it up after that as well?
I did that on purpose.
don't be a fool and wrap at all.
Oh my god, we definitely need a late one, don't we? A late show. Whew. How
is
can
not
I say
happy.
this without landing myself in it? Bye. Bye. Yeah. So, anybody else got anything to add before I wrap it up? No. Good. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you on that next one. Bye bye.
See ya.
Out for now.
Right, Stadia Arcadia.